When it comes to the graph's native token called GRT, do I think it's a sleeping giant? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, I don't see why not, because even though this is just my perspective, I think first of all, for a project to be considered sleeping, I think it hasn't really had that next leg up yet. And that could be said with a bunch of other altcoins out there, but if we take a look at GRT, market cap is slightly under 700 million, which for what the project is, that is considered not doing the best because of the pretty big pullback. So I think it's kind of sleeping in that sense. But why do I think it's giant? Because how can a project with a market cap that is nearly 700 million be considered not a giant? This is the way I take a look at it. But then actually, because for the graph, especially GRT's native token, a market cap of under 700 million, in that specific sort of situation for what the project is, that's actually not doing good. But then, generally speaking, for other projects out there, that would be considered a very massive market cap. So then at the same time, I think it's a sleeping giant. It's a project that seems to be underperforming for what it is, but then at the same time, it's pretty giant when it comes to the market cap. So this is why I like it. Now, people may be thinking, okay, if it's underperforming, it's not doing the best, why would I still be, again, personally for me, why would I still like it? Well, it's because I think that the graph, first of all, has amazing fundamentals. I think that when it comes to GRT, it has a good amount of holders. And also on top of that as well, when I take a look at just the space of the graph and what it's focused on, this is what I like, which is why, even though the price isn't necessarily the best, and even though I'll talk about the fundamentals later on in the video, I just don't see why the price of $2 would necessarily surprise me. I mean, at that point, market cap would be around 21 billion, considering current circulating supply, which I get is around a 30x from here. But when I consider how the graph is an open source software that is supposedly used to collect, process, and store data from various blockchain applications, I just don't know why that would seem like such an outlandish market cap. I think within that specific niche, I think the graph is kind of the most popular one there. I mean, if we take a look at it, right? All of what the graph is doing, basically, the way you take a look at it, is to facilitate information retrieval. I think the benefit of something like this is to help developers use relevant data to help increase the efficiency of their decentralized application. And we have to think about this. There are so many decentralized applications out there. I mean, there's thousands. And a lot of these developers, I think arguably, if they really do care about their decentralized application, they're going to want to find a way to make it more efficient. Why not? Make it better, make it have better adoption. So I think what the graph is doing is really interesting. I think it's really cool. And we have to take a look at it. When it comes to the graph, it analyzes and gathers blockchain data before storing it into various indices. Now, these indices right here are called subgraphs, and this allows any application to send a query to its protocol and receive an immediate response. Now, people may be thinking, okay, it sounds a little bit complicated, but I think this right here is going to tie into later on what I have to mention about this, because queries are posed through decentralized applications through something called GraphQL. Now, here's where things get a little bit more interesting because GraphQL is a widely used language that was originally created by Facebook. So that's pretty interesting. When it comes to the graph, I just like its kind of vibe overall. Also on top of that as well, though, I think it should be noted that anyone can use subgraphs to power applications across many networks, which do include something like Ethereum, Moonriver, Moonbeam, Harmony, and many others. So yeah, I think the graph is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. And I think something that's in favor of the graph is that it's, I think, not that complicated to understand. Now, why would this be an advantage? Because some people may be thinking, oh, if a project is difficult to understand, that means it's more interesting, that means it's more cool. I think that novelty factor wears off really quickly. You know what I mean? It's like, for instance, I saw the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas, and it's pretty cool, but the one in Paris, France, looks way cooler. This is my perspective. The one in Las Vegas, it's cool for a while, but the real one, it's just what I'm really excited about. So then at the same time, when it comes to a project being not that exciting, because it is kind of simple to understand, I think that actually works to the favor in the long term, because how can I believe in a project that I don't understand? If it's just overly complicated, it may seem cool in the beginning, but then later on, it just doesn't seem that interesting, and it's just kind of counterintuitive in my opinion. So I do like the graph overall, and keep in mind, right, the graph is currently being utilized by popular Ethereum decentralized applications such as Aave, Curve, and even Uniswap as well. And Uniswap is one of the most popular decentralized exchanges out there, which I actually think is the most popular in terms of a decentralized exchange. So that is pretty cool. And also Uni, its native token market cap is in the many billions, so it's still doing pretty okay in that sense. And yeah, I just like the graph overall, fundamentally speaking. Now, when I take a look at something like GRT, again, the graph's native token, people like to say, okay, it's not doing that good, but still, the amount of holders is holding up pretty amazingly. And also on top of that, the price as of right now underperforming for what it is, in my opinion. I don't really mind that because in theory, the lower something is, the more room it could grow. It doesn't mean it will, but the more room it could grow. So, in my perspective, when I take a look at something like the graph, I still like it overall. And even if we just take a look at the price chart of GRT, right? Again, market cap is currently slightly under 700 million, but not too long ago, the market cap when it comes to GRT, at least back in December of 2024, so literally less than a year, from right now. At one point, at that, December time, market cap was around 3 billion. So it's literally over 4 times this. That's very fascinating for me to see. Again, that was less than a year ago, and that was even without altcoin season, in my opinion. And sure, the sentiment was a lot better when it comes to GRT back in 2021, but that was during an altcoin season. I don't think I've seen one during this cycle. So I haven't given up when it comes to GRT, and seeing this market cap just, again, be below 700 million currently, I find that very fascinating because when GRT was at a market cap of around 3 billion, and even at one point we saw over that as well, like around 4 billion, a lot of people were saying, wow, only if GRT went to a market cap of below 2 billion or below a billion, and literally it's that right now. I'm not telling you to do anything, by the way, but the way I take a look at it is that if I liked GRT before, when the price was doing a lot better, why would I suddenly not like it now? Nothing bad fundamentally happened to it, so why would I not like it? If I like this t-shirt at $10, why would I suddenly not want it if there's a 50% discount at the price of $5? I'm not telling you to do anything again, but this is just my outlook when it comes to this. So I'm still dollar cost averaging, I'm still holding, I'm still waiting, I'm still staying patient because ultimately, when exactly an altcoin season even wants to happen, if it does, let's say during this cycle, that's beyond my control. Like, I cannot demand that to happen. The only thing I can do is control myself. So whenever there is even an altcoin season, I just want to stay patient by just holding and just waiting. So let's say there is one, maybe I go along with the ride, but only time will tell, and I just don't want to give up like that. When it comes to the graph, I still like it, and just seeing this market cap right now, it is just so surprising to me. Well, I can't really say I'm that surprised because altcoins are not doing the best, but then it's so surprising considering how GRT is below that market cap, and I consider the fundamentals of it. So this is why I would consider it to be a sleeping giant in my perspective. But I'm still staying patient, holding, and just waiting, and only time will tell, but I'm still excited. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a nice day. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.